Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Collecting Profit. This is Anthony. With me, as always, we got Michael, my co-hostess with the mostest from
What's
Cuddle
up?
Hard, or as I like to refer to him as Cuddle Hard Collection. With us, as always, we got my guy, Gate City Paul. Really excited to have him back. If you guys remember the podcast we used to do, maybe about a year back, year and a half back, Paul was one of the co-hosts there, and you might have seen him throughout the years. As he's been like, one of the true OGs of the channel. So, if you guys haven't checked out his channel, he's putting out great content on a weekly basis. So, I want to go ahead and recommend you guys to check it out. I will have a pinned comment for you guys here if you're watching the live show, but also if you're watching the replay, down in the comment or the description of this video, you'll find his channel information as well. So, Michael, anything new, exciting going on Huddle Card you want to talk about?
Not a whole lot. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for being here. Paulie, thanks a lot for coming on. We appreciate you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Nope, same old, man. Just trying to, catch up, trying to, I got a wedding coming up here in about 10 days. So, trying to get through that before I can, kick in the gear of, more, listing cards and trying to get out a little bit more. A little hard right now, but other than that, everything's going wonderful.
Nice. So again, our guest, Gate City Paul. How are you doing today, brother? Really appreciate you coming on. Excited to have you today.
It's been a long day, so I'm up way past my bedtime. So
we'll try not to keep you too late.
Don't worry about it. I got everybody set up for tomorrow at work, so I'll drag in a little bit late tomorrow. Instead of being there at 6, I'll be there at 7.
Nice. Well, how perfect is it at fitting? Like you show up in the WrestleMania shirt with the Ultimate Warrior, and I just happen to also be rocking like WrestleMania 6 with the Ultimate Warrior.
Mike didn't get the memo.
I did not get the memo at all. I was left in the dark.
That's an epic fail, my friend. Well, yeah, I mean that's just super cool. That just shows that we're like of the same cloth. That we both like literally are just randomly rocking a WrestleMania 6 shirt. Like out of like all of the repertoire that we could have, it just happens to be that specific WrestleMania.
We're in the same mental wavelength.
Yep, absolutely. So, Paul, man, tell the people that aren't yet familiar with your channel, like a little bit of your background, kind of like the things you specialize in, your passions, like what they can expect to see from like a Gate City Paul video.
Well, I just recently got back into doing YouTube. It's been a very trying last couple of years. I've just had some ups and downs with life on life's terms and a lot of stuff changing. Went through a big change at my work. There was a restructuring and had to take a bigger position at work. And then I was doing I don't know what the proper way to say it, but I was doing some consulting for a sports card company that was taking up a lot of my time. So it took away from my content time and my reselling business. Thankfully, that consulting came to an end. It was more of a blessing in disguise. It wasn't really something I wanted to happen, but when it did happen, it was a tremendous relief because I was kind of stretched too thin. So I just had a lot going on. And then just kind of here within the last 2 or 3 months, things have leveled out. I've got some free time, refocused on my reselling eBay business. I've decided something I've always done in my eBay business is heavy on clothing. I've decided to not necessarily get rid of clothing altogether, but just not the run of the mill type of stuff. So I'm getting out of that. My eBay stuff is more going to be focused on collectibles, antique type of stuff, more of that type of stuff rather than just kind of if people are familiar with resell type of stuff, the VHS players and stuff like that. I'm gonna kind of stay away from that stuff and kind of go more towards the collectible and antique stuff. I'm just now here recently getting back into doing videos, and I've got a few. And spoiler alert: the next video, there is a very famous cameo from a former NWA World Tag Team Wrestler championship. So watch out for the next video. He makes a pseudo cameo. So there's a
Nice.
little teaser spoiler coming up for the next video.
Definitely be looking forward to that. So guys, make sure you go over there and subscribe to Paul's channel so that you'll definitely be able to see that cameo. Definitely looking forward to it myself. But yeah, so you talked about eBay and like shifting into like different categories, from your run-of-the-mill like reseller type inventory that you would find at like a thrift store, yard sale, like basically any type of item, to really niching down to like the collectible stuff, which I think is really something that is attractive to both Michael and I. Is like both of us were in the exact same thing as you, like selling anything that could make us a profit, on
Right.
eBay, Amazon, wherever. And
And
both of us.
And to kind of tell you the truth, that was the roots of my eBay business when I started out. I of course just I started out with sports cards. I was on eBay when it started to gain some momentum, and so that's what I started out with. When I think eBay came around in like the early 2000s. I was on, and was just peddling sports cards, and then kind of moved into like other like comic books and other antiques and stuff like that. And that's kind of where I started. But then when I got serious with the business is when I started adding all of that other, like you said, Anthony, anything that I could make a profit on. I pulled all that stuff in. So with my kind of restarting my eBay stuff, I'm going back to my roots, back to what got me interested into this, back to the basics type of stuff. The stuff that I'm more familiar with. Not so much taking a gamble on stuff that like yeah, I can buy this for $10 and sell it for 30. Back to like I know I can buy this for $5 and sell it for 50 type of stuff.
That's good.
That makes a lot of sense. And me and Michael, like I was saying, like that's real attractive to us, because that's kind of what we're trying to do with our eBay businesses now too, is kind of niche down into the collectible space, because that's where our passions are. You know what I mean? Like for me to I can't tell you how many really nice articles of clothing I've had that are probably worth $50 to $100, maybe more, that unless it was a Steeler jersey or some form of basketball jersey, I just had no interest in taking pictures of, listing, do anything with. But like cards that might be $1, $2, I'll sit there all day and just list on eBay like it's
Right.
nothing. You know what I mean? And it's just because I'm interested in it. Like for me to go through and, okay, let me see if I can get together 20 Patrick Mahomes cards on the list over the next hour. You know what I mean? Like it's something I'm interested in. So definitely something I've been wanting to niche down a little more into as well. So I thought it'd be great to talk with you about it, Paul, especially seeing a lot of the content you putting out lately. One thing that's been cool is seeing the different avenues that you're selling, from just over the years. I've seen different content, back in the day when you had that big locker thing at your flea market. So you were a very experienced flea market seller. Now you have like what's almost like I don't know, like an antique mall type booth where
Yeah,
you have
yeah. Well, it's just like so if you go back and you watch, or if you watch any of those reseller experts or anything like that, and then you combine that with anybody who does anything entrepreneurial or anything like that, they always talk about having multiple streams of income. And so I kind of take it, well, I have to have multiple avenues to sell sports cards and things like that. So of course you start with eBay, and that's kind of the bread and butter. That's what kind of pays the bills for everything else. And then what I've done now is I've done the consignment shop. So what I got really lucky, and I was a lot of the consignment shops and the antique malls and stuff like that around here. It's all antiques. It's all handcraft, or crafts and things like that. and one a more niche down into more like toys, collectibles, and things like that opened up, and it was open for a while, and I don't really know the ins and outs of it previous to when I got in there, but it wasn't being run very well, wasn't being advertised very well. And I had talked to the guy that was running it a few times, and I never got the warm fuzzy for it. And then it closed for a while, and then actually a friend of mine, really a good friend of mine, asked me. He's like, "Hey, have you seen this place over here? They got all kinds of toys and Funkos and." And stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, but they're closed. He's like, no, I was in there the other day. And I was like, really? And I went down there and talked to the guy, and again, it's the same spot. They basically redid the entire store. I mean, repainted, made it look really professional. And I talked to the guy and I said, I've got sports cards and I need a place. It does two things. It gives me a place to store them that's not in my house, and it makes other people who live in my house a lot happier. And two, it generates an income for me with it. You know what I mean? So having that place to store that stuff and then also generate an income is just another way to sell cards. What I have down there currently is just the value boxes, my $1, $2 cards, and I've got some other stuff. I got some lower end graded slabs that don't go for more than $20 or so. I've got those down there, and then just some other odds and ends. It's so far it's doing. The first month was fantastic. I mean, more than doubled my rent. The rental fee that I pay was more than double that. It's kind of evened off right now, and so I just changed out the inventory. I took a new box, pulled the old one out, and put a new box in. So hopefully that'll generate some more sales for it because it's new inventory. So it's just another stream. And then of course, then I've been doing a lot more shows too, local card shows. I just did one not 2 months ago. There's another one coming up next month, and it's actually at a minor league baseball stadium. And
Very cool.
that one's awesome. I did it once before, and it gets people there. It gets people to because part of the draw is that after the show is a game, so you get to catch people coming into this to watch the game at the end of the show, where usually like you're packing up and you can't wait to leave at the end of the show. Now you got to stick around a little bit longer, and because now you're catching people coming into the stadium to go to a game. So the last show I did, other than being out in the middle of the sun, but it was still on the concourse. I talked to the guy this time. I said, "Hey, I was in the sun last time." He said, "Don't worry, I'll put you in the shade this time." So. But that's cool. So again, it's just like having like multiple streams. So like, yes, I'm niched down into just a few areas, but I have to figure out different ways to be up for all of those same things to create multiple streams. And eBay is not the end all be all. There's other ways and other avenues. And so I've got eBay. I've got the consignment shops. I'm doing more shows. I went to my first Comic Con a couple weeks ago. And, I'm like, there's something here too. So there's a couple local Comic Cons that they do. And so I'm looking into, maybe starting to show up at those. So, I mean, again, it's just, listing on eBay is great, but like getting out into the public, into the community is, it's a lot more fun and it's a lot more interactive. And, you get to meet your local collectors too. So, and creates more of a sense of community.
Well, and you also get an opportunity to buy. People know that you're there selling. They think you're probably buying also, and maybe they want to get rid of cards. They'll talk to you at a table.
Right.
Definitely.
And that's what I'm hoping with the consignment deal too. Is I got some signs up that that links my social medias, and hopefully I'll start picking up some people coming into the consignment shop looking to sell their collections. So it's another opportunity, because my Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and all that stuff around here. I mean, it's just slot full of people who are they're me. They're doing the same thing I'm doing. So it's hard to catch a good deal. It's very difficult to buy collections on the local buy sell trade apps.
And
For me,
that's
at
what
least.
that's what I find so odd, when I look at other people and they're like, "Oh, I bought this 700,000 card collection. I saw it on Facebook Marketplace." And I'm like, "How the hell do you find these? Because I've never seen anything like that come up near me. Never.
Yeah.
Ever, ever, ever."
Yeah, and
You know.
if they do, and if they do, they want top dollar for it.
Or it's crossed hands like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's picked up. There's a guy who's got in my local area. He's got he's it's a vintage. It's 60s and 70s baseballs, but now it's all commons now because it's been picked over so many times.
Mm.
And he wants like $700 for 1,000 cards or something like that, or something like that. But it's all commons, and it's like nothing really in there that's gonna break up value is gonna do anything for you.
Yeah.
Have you noticed anything with trying the Comic Con route? As far as like the inventory that you sell moving. The reason I ask is there's a couple guys that do a lot of card shows out here in like Southern California that do a lot of like the pop culture type stuff, and they've had some decent crossover success with their cards because they mainly do like the pop culture stuff, which Comic-Con people are basically there for pop culture stuff for like all the Marvel cards, like that type of stuff anyway. So
Yeah, so the con that I just went to, there were two guys selling cards. One guy was all Marvel, the Leaf Centuries and stuff like that. The other guy had like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Ohs, but then he did have half a table of sports cards. So again, it's just something that I'm into. Now I don't do like a lot of the Marvel stuff and the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Ohs, to that extent, but that's what I'm talking about. Like as far as like looking at the cons, like what do I need to do to get into the cons? Because I don't think the Comic Con people are going to be necessarily looking for a Patrick Mahomes rookie card, but they could be looking for some rare Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering cards. So it's more of a like I need to educate myself more to get into that stuff and bring some sports card stuff too, because who knows, I might be able to peddle some of that stuff.
with your extensive knowledge too, just in like reselling, like you can clean up just going through a con. Like I remember back in the day, I used to go through there and pick up like the vintage, like 1980s, like 1989, like Ninja Turtle toys and like the 1993 or 94 Power Ranger figures that like literally I had as a kid that like most people look at as junk, but then like you start to realize like some of those figures still go for like $80-$90 like opened, like they might not even have utility belts.
Yeah, this last one, the one that I went to here recently, this guy was making a kill. I was there for like an hour and a half, and this guy had a table full of people, and he was just selling Lego minifigures. That's all he was doing. He was making custom Lego minifigures, or he had parts and pieces to make custom Lego minifigures. And the guy, like he was making money hand over fist just selling Lego minifigures, and it's just kind of like it's one of those things that like it really holds true. People will collect anything. Like there's a collector for just about anything that you can come up with. And the cool part is like the guys that do the people who run the consignment store for me are in my area. It's called the Dragon's Horde, and they're really big into the Dungeons and Dragons. And the guy actually runs his 3D printing business during the day out of the store, and so he's always printing the all that type of stuff. Well, they set up at the cons, and he's like, anytime you want to come with us, just let me know, and I'll get an extra table, and that way I can hang out with them and get some experience just hanging out with them. So and so that, and again, it's creating more of a sense of community and making more connections within the community.
And that's really what the awesome part about all this is really being able to build that community. Just like Mark was saying, like eBay is awesome, but after COVID and being cooped up, it's like amazing actually being able to get face to face and like do hobby with people again.
Right.
Speaking of which, quick shout out to Mark. He is one half of the promoter of the Pittsburgh Card Show. It's a big one coming up here June 16th, or not June 16th, June 17th, excuse me. It's going to be at Washington Crown Plaza in Washington, PA again. Chef is going to be there with me. We're both going to have tables. So if you guys are in the Pittsburgh area, make sure you come out for the Pittsburgh Card Show.
So, Paul, so if you're gonna go to the cons, you think you're gonna have to get more into, let's say, like a Pokemon, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh? Are you gonna have to then, try and figure out how to get out there and source some of that stuff?
Yeah, that's the next step for me. Is that stuff, and I think more too with the more focus on a lot of the let's just let's all just accept reality. Disney is taking over the world, but like the Marvel stuff and the Star Wars stuff, like people are collecting that stuff, and they've it died out for a while, but it's back up. It's coming, and so those older Marvel cards that we that I come across used to come across all the time at yard sales. Now I can't find, of course. Just last or 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I went to a yard sale, and I do the thing that we teach at we're told, it's like always ask, tell them what you're looking for. And I told him, guys, I'm looking for video games, I'm looking for sports cards or any type of non-sports cards. He's like, oh, that guy, and he pointed at the guy who was walking away. He said he just bought all my 1989 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, yeah. He said, there's a bunch of junk cards. I gave him like 400 cards for $20. And I was like,
freaking.
Right. And I wanted to chase the guy down and say, hey, I'll give you 40, but but all that stuff is like, becoming collectible. And there's two local stores in my or local shops in my area. One, of course, is Cards at the Cages. It's my favorite. It's going to always be my favorite card shop. The other one is called, I think it's called Curry's, but he's more into the TCG stuff, and he's actually a certified like group submitter for one of the newer TGT's graders, and so like he I can submit through him. I think what's the new TCG? I think it's like ASG or AGS or something like that. Yeah, AGS. Yeah. So he's a group submitter for them. So he's been a source of knowledge. He's got a huge shop and just a little small display. And I really actually want to start talking to him about doing trade nights at his place, because it's much more it's much more open than the other card shop here. But and he seems very open to just having events. Like he's got the Magic nights and things like that. And I didn't even think about this. I might be able to do trade nights at the consignment shop too. I just thought about that as well. So, but yes, I do need to source more of that type of stuff. But again, it's still the same thing. You look on Facebook Marketplace, and it's it's what I know of some of that TCG stuff. It's a lot of commons and stuff that's already been picked over, or something that I learned the hard way, and our friend Anthony taught me, is in the TCG stuff, just because it says rare on the card, don't mean it's rare.
Yeah. Well, I think, to your point, it's one of those things when you're going to have to get to that garage sale or something along those lines, so that person who doesn't have that kind of stuff out, and you ask the question that, that no one else asks, and you find those, those 80s, 90s, cards, the older ones, to where that, the ones that are, people are really going to want more and more, you know what I'm saying?
And I think there's so much over the last number of years, been so much focus on sports cards. I think those, the like we were talking about, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Alf is a big one. Have you ever looked up Alf cards on eBay? Go look those up real quick. I mean, those are starting to command a little pretty penny. It's all that oddball stuff that we used to make fun of Anthony for picking up and collecting, and Anthony's probably sitting on some side of gold mine that he doesn't even know about, unless he sold all that stuff already.
I still have a good bit of the oddball stuff, but yeah, I mean, I've even seen, international breaks of, like, say, G.I. Joe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like all of the stuff that, like, literally we still sometimes walk by. Like, for example, I just walked by, like, it might have been 2 weeks ago, and saw a big thing of GI Joe unopened packs, like $1 for like 4 packs or something like that. It was like basically 25 cents a pack. And I did like a little clip. Logan Paul would be excited about this. And then later on, like I literally see a friend of mine over in Australia breaking the exact same packs and like being able to like make good money off of the breaks. And I'm like, good God, like I didn't realize that some of this stuff was literally so hot now. Like, and GI Joe is basically the stuff that most of like the hobby was like snickering, like, oh, this is what Logan Paul had in his first edition Pokemon booster box. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right,
it
right.
was like the equivalent of like the Austin Powers in that first Prism box or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I mean that kind of stuff is like getting hot. In certain parts of the world. I had no idea that Elf was. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Elf was like super popular back in the day, so you can totally see
Dom
that.
has Elf cards.
Nice. Definitely look them up, man.
Yeah,
Dom, do you
look
have
some of those
Elf?
up. I don't remember. I don't remember. I know that there's one Alf card that is worth a lot, and I think because they had to stop printing it. It was Alf. I think it was eating the cat, and I think they had to stop printing it because it showed
Oh.
animal violence, and so that one is like a little bit more, a little bit more rare than some of the other ones.
Who cares if you got Alf cards, Dom? Do you have Alf socks?
I would be shocked if he doesn't come.
I used to have a very big Alf plush. I was a big Alf guy. I really liked that show, and I got it for Christmas, and it was when I was a kid, and it was my favorite little plush that I used to carry around for the longest time.
So for sourcing, for getting a lot of your dollar box cards, your value box cards, are those garage sales? Are those collection finds, or
A little bit of everything. Here recently, I've actually kind of to supply the dollar boxes. I've gone on a little bit of a buying hiatus, mainly because when I got back into cards, however many years ago, because I started with cards. My the first pack of cards I ever bought was a 1987 Tops. That's the first pack of cards I ever bought. And pretty much been collecting ever since, and kind of just went through these ebbs and flows. And then when I got back into it very heavily here, with everybody else in the late 2019, early 2000s, the stuff that I was selling was all new stuff I was buying. I really didn't tap into the stuff that I have still in storage, and so I'm slowly pulling my own cards that I've had since the early 80s, all through the 90s, and the few boxes that I bought, through the 2000s up until, that I've just kind of pushed away and kept in storage. Like I haven't touched any of that stuff, everything I've been selling is just like stuff that I've bought within the last, 3 or 4 years. And here recently, I'm looking at these boxes of cards that I've got, binders full of cards that I collected when I was a kid, and like that's the stuff that I'm starting to pull through and start to put in my $1 and $2 boxes. And I've found too, and I need to, Anthony's talking about the international scene. I think we, the three of us, know some people in the international scene, and I didn't know the hobby was as big as it was in some of the Asian countries. And so I want to start putting some of those early 90s, inserts up on eBay with international shipping, because I've seen that stuff going overseas, the early 80s and early 90s inserts, especially basketball, that stuff's going to the Asian countries, the Philippines, China, Japan, because basketball is a very popular sport there. And so, I shipped a very common David Robinson insert from I think it was like a late 90s hoops, set, and the guy paid 3 times as much to have it shipped to him, from the US to the Philippines, because, it's just it's stuff that they don't see anymore. And so it gets shipped over there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, just on newer stuff, did you see that Topps released the NBL cards?
Yes, I did. I saw a screenshot from my card shop. They got four But yeah, 4 blaster boxes of it at the local card shop, and he put them up on Facebook, and they were sold within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see that, and I don't know. I'm a big like the Panini baseball. I stay away from because I'm a big fan of like licensed products. I don't
Yep.
like I'm a big Dodger fan, so I don't like it just saying Los Angeles on the bottom of a a Dodger card. So not seeing people in pro uniforms. I'm not a big fan either of collegiate, but but as a person who does some flipping for individual cards, I do kind of get a hold of some of that stuff sometimes, but not a big fan of unlicensed products.
Yeah, I'm really not either. I mean, honestly, and the thing with Panini baseball is like any like real serious collector like stick around it for the most part. You know what I mean? Like you can get like RPAs of like decent rookies for like $10 a piece. You know what I mean? So like going out and spending what a Panini box costs just doesn't make sense when the flip is not going to be there most of the time.
Right. Definitely. I mean, I'll do players I like just to go ahead and have the different the different looking cards that you can get from Panini on players that I like. But I am I've kind of started to stay away from a lot of the Panini, the Prism, the Donruss, the Select. I mean, I have a little bit, but not I don't go deep into it.
And it's just to me like I think people like the licensed product more than anything else, and so I tend to stay away from it unless like I've got a local sporting goods store. Somehow some way they get sports cards, and every once in a while they'll have them out there, but not a lot of people know they have sports cards, and so sometimes I can go in there. Like I saw they had Chronicles draft from like 2 years ago in hanger boxes for $5. You know, so I bought a few of those because I mean it's $5 for a hanger box of it's draft, but still I mean $5 for a hanger box on sale clearance. I couldn't believe it from 2 years ago. From I think it was 2020 or something like that it was 2000. No, it was 21. I'm sorry,
21.
21. Yeah. 21
buddy,
Chronicles draft.
a buddy of mine bought 13 pallets of that.
Oh, really?
So there's gonna be a lot of it hitting the market soon, probably.
Wow.
Pallets.
Pallets.
Wow.
Wow.
With a P.
Dang.
But another place that I've been sourcing, and I hopefully I'm not shooting myself in the foot, is not necessarily Goodwill, as in going to the store, but Goodwill has its own marketplace online. And matter of fact, I think a couple months ago, I sent Anthony and Marty a link of, it was a pallet of, sports cards. It's a big, huge Gaylord box of sports cards. I was like, hey man, this is in your area. But I actually just won some today. I need to go and pay for it. But but down here in this area, they'll just take one of those flat rate mailers, and they just fill it up with all kinds of all the cards. And they start it at like I think it's $5.99, and that's where the auction starts at. So I've been getting some of those, but I mean that's a real gamble, and I don't really spend more than about $20 on those boxes either, because it's just a lot of it does turn into their like junk wax type of stuff. So
it is crazy to think right now, like a lot of these packs that we're spending like top dollar on, like what if this is the year that it's like 1990 like X sport where it's like trash, like regardless of what card you pull, it's going to be trash. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you could just think of X number of sets throughout the 90s that it does not matter if you get the top rookie in that set today, it's basically trash.
Yeah, but the best thing that came out of junk wax is the '89 Griffey. That's about the best thing in the junk wax era.
Yeah, very true. Well, but I think the problem, I don't know, Anthony, but to me, I wonder from a standpoint of basketball and football standpoint is what truly is Panini going to do from a print run, knowing that they're going to be out of the license business here soon. And I wonder if it's going to be one of those things where are they going to print a bunch thinking that people may hold on to it sealed product because hey,
Because
this
it's
is
the last print run.
it's
Yep.
the last ones.
Yeah. I know that they kept a lot of licensing too for other sports. I would like to see people I would like to see them get into some of the like the non-popular sports to try to make them more popular. Like, you know, I mean, what about gymnasts? Gymnastic cards, weightlifting. I mean, all those somebody really printing tennis cards and golf cards. Like those sports have collectors just like everybody else, and nobody's printing cards for that type of stuff. You find that stuff in like Goodwins and Allen and Ginter, but
Leaf even.
yeah, but like I'd like to see Panini get into some of those type of sports to kind of bring some attention to that because people collect that stuff. I mean, I've
Yeah.
got a Serena Williams rookie card that that's graded from SGC. It's worth a couple $100. And it's like nobody prints that type of stuff. Like boxing, yeah, UFC's got cards now, but boxing to me, boxing is a sport that's coming back. People with all the YouTubers doing boxing now, it's a sport that's got people's eyes on it now. So, I'd like to.
Topps just released 2021 tennis, Chrome tennis.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. See?
Yeah, it's on there. It's on their way. I'm not 2021, which seems odd, but yeah, hobby boxes, $180. I don't know. It doesn't say that you're guaranteed anything on the box.
Believe it or not, Dom, rugby actually has some international print runs. One of the set of cards we got from my buddy Dave Tarlington over there, Parabellum Gaming in Australia, was some rugby cards he sent into TGT back in the day to get done, which were pretty cool. I haven't seen any U.S. rugby stuff, but I don't know that do we have any really big rugby organizations in the States that
I'm sure there is of all the things where I live in North Carolina, there are 2 cricket fields, and I see them playing cricket all the time out there. So
I've never in my entire life seen anybody play cricket. I've heard about it, in theory, it seems like people would do that, but I've never ever in my entire life seen anyone play cricket.
Yeah. That's the thing is one day I want to stop and watch them play, but yeah, there's I see there's a local park that has a cricket field in it right near me. So, but yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of sports that Panini can tap into if they're losing licensing in the major sports.
Oh, that's nice, Dom. He says there's Major League Rugby in the States. My cousin played minor league rugby for Pittsburgh Harlequins back in the day, but it wasn't anything where anyone would stop him in public and be like, "Oh, you play for the local team XYZ." You know what I mean, most people still have no clue who any of the players are.
Right.
Lacrosse is another one.
Now Topps has lacrosse, so
they do.
Yeah, they do. They do the it's called the PLL, and so they had it. They have got that one. Upper Deck used to have the NLL, and I don't know who's got the indoor league. But there are lacrosse cards. I actually sent some into to TGT and got those graded. And actually there's some rarity to it because the print run was very low on the first season, which was 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, so the print run was very limited, and so if you actually go on and look for it's at Topps PLL on eBay, you'll see that those cards actually command a pretty decent penny.
It's awesome. Yeah, I think some of the more niche sports that have pretty big followings would probably do pretty well. I mean, look at F1. F1 is gone crazy, and it's
right. But yeah, see, that's the thing. Panini still has licenses to some of the soccers and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Panini's not going anywhere. I mean, they just lost the licensing here for to the conglomerate of Fanatics. But there's still, you'll still see Panini products in some other sports that they already have their hands into, and I think Panini still has the collegiate, don't they?
Yeah,
I
well,
believe
like
so.
like one of the things, Panini's gonna do a baseball product, even though they've lost baseball, and it's gonna be draft pick guys and retired guys, veterans.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens because honestly, it kind of looks to me like Fanatics got like a Ronda Rousey death grip on Fanatics, or I mean on Panini right now. From poaching employees to like all the craziness going on.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about is I don't think Fanatics is in it for the not necessarily the collectibles or anything like that. Fanatics got all the licensing just for the sports betting, and that's the main reason why they got all the licensing. So that's the part that I worry about. I worry about the products that they're going to put out and whether they're going to put a lot of I don't want to say quality, but a lot of focus onto it, a lot of design. Like Prism cards, they're nice and glossy and cool looking, and I wonder how much Fanatics will put into actually putting out a decent looking product, because their main focus is the sports betting.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. That is my biggest fear. Also, all of a sudden you have, the three major sports, all under one roof. They can do whatever they want to do. They can say, hey, we want sports cards everywhere. We want them at the stadiums. We want them at, we want them back in, I don't know, 7-Elevens, the gas stations. We want, who knows what they decide to do. I don't know if we know for sure. I think that's the scary part about it. They could say one thing and do the complete opposite, because at the end of the day, they're going to want to make money. They're not going to do it to, and how are you going to make money? If people are going to buy it, you're going to make money.
Right.
The part that's hard for me in the hobby is like, and like I've seen a lot of these companies either through like card shows or just personal experience in business. Like most of the companies that are in the hobby, and like the hobbyists are smart, they're not stupid, you know what I mean? Most of these companies are out to grab cash. They don't care about you as a hobbyist or even about the actual cards they're peddling you. They care about the money that you have and how much of that money you're able to give to them. You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it, like, and that's what's really hard for me in getting behind and supporting a lot of these companies. You know what I mean? Especially with like my hard-earned money, it's like most of the time, like, I barely even rip boxes anymore because like after seeing Marty get kicked in the nuts like time after time after time with product after product after product, it's like, well, I don't necessarily want to buy that product now because I've already seen my friend like literally get kicked in the nuts 6 times out of 10.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's like less than 50% win rate. You know what I mean? So it's like, and he rips a lot, so he's probably not like the best example. Like, you know what I mean? But it's really difficult for me to get behind a product that I fear I'm not going to even come close to getting my money back. You know what I mean? Like, whereas like the value of singles is drastically down in today's market, but the cost of boxes is still inflated as hell. Like even a cheap blaster that isn't guaranteed an autograph from Walmart or Target, I'm paying $30 to Walmart or Target for that box now. Whereas like that used to be the reseller price.
And I mean, look at the hype now around the Panini Monopoly stuff. I mean, I went into Target the other day, and this is no bullshit. I wish I would have taken a picture of it, but there were 4 Monopolies still on the shelf, and I picked one up and looked at it, and I went, "Oh, that seal is broke." I set it down. I picked up the second one. Oh, that seal is broke. All 4 boxes, the seal was broke. Somebody had gone in there, already taken the cards out, and put the boxes back on the shelf. I was like, is this where we are as a hobby, where we're stealing cards from Monopoly? Stealing cards out of a box. Now, somebody could have done that, or somebody could have bought them, taken the cards out, and then returned them and put them back on the shelf. But still, is that where we're at as a hobby, where we're willing, people are stealing that stuff? It's like I'm sorry, a piece of a picture, a card with some random players on it ain't worth going to jail for. You know what I mean? Or catching a
Nope.
charge for. And
Yep.
I was just disgusted with the hobby in that moment in time where, like, somebody literally broke the seal, took the cards out, put the box back on the shelf. It's like where are we at as a hobby? You know, and you know, if we see that type of stuff, we got to call it out. You know, we and because that's wrong. I don't mind somebody clearing a shelf, buying all the boxes, and then taking them home and ripping them, or doing a break with them, whatever. But like ripping the box open and taking the cards and putting them back on the shelf, you know, that's not the hobby.
No.
Oh yeah, that's downright not only theft, but you're screwing whoever gets it because then all the good hits are already gone.
Right. You know, we got a buddy who does international rips, and he got ripped off the other, you know, on one of his last breaks where he got a couple of those Monopoly boxes, and as soon as he opened it, he knew that the cards had been pulled out of the box already. So you know, it's just it's like where are we at in the hobby where we're doing stuff, you know, that type of stuff.
Well, there was somebody who I watched a video, a guy who bought a couple of boxes and he opened them on camera, and they were opened. They were open. The packs were open. They actually must have done it at home, brought them back, returned them, and they actually, resealed the packs with some glue. But when you open them, there was like Donruss optic cards in the packs. You know,
It's wild kind of what the hobby has gotten to, you know what I mean? But I guess anytime that there's an opportunity for people to gain, there's always going to be somebody that, tries to pervert that opportunity for their own gain. Um, but man, it's something that like started as such like a pure thing, you know what I mean, to like enjoy with like your friends and kids or XYZ, you know what I mean? Because when I think of the hobby, like I think of me and Marty as like 10 and 12-year-old kids going to the flea markets to get cards or going to card shops, you know what I mean? Like every weekend my mom would be like carting us here or there just chasing after cards, you know what I mean? Like that's what I think of. You know what I mean? But I think now, like over the last few years, people that aren't like familiar with the hobby, when they think of card collecting, they think of like the, middle-aged man like fighting somebody in a Target parking lot over like blaster boxes of NBA hoops, or you know what I
Right,
mean,
right.
like that type of stuff. Or you know what I mean? Like I think honestly, even like they even somewhat given resellers a name over the last several years, as somebody that's gonna come and like almost poach something and like try to almost gouge you for it. You know what I mean? Like for something that should be reasonably cheap for a while. So
yeah. I don't know. I just, it's crazy when you look at, and it's done because of value, right? I mean, that's what it is. Because if somebody thinks they can get that gold shimmer, Pablo, Bancaro out of that box, right? And they're going to have a card that's worth, thousands. So I think, and it's it's that's part of the hobby that is, like you're saying, that is the part that is really a turnoff to a lot of people. And I think that's that's not, see, that person's not a hobby person. That person is an they're an investor. They're or a seller. They're trying to make a buck. They're not they're not in it, they're not in the hobby necessarily because they collect anything also. They're in a hobby because they want to just buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. You know.
this makes a lot of sense here what Zach is saying, and it sucks that people have come to that. But yeah, I mean, so they're not even necessarily looking at like the base box of this as a sports trading card. They're actually looking at it as a game, which technically the base box is the game,
Right.
and it comes with some cards. And so what they're doing, I guess, is getting the base box, taking out the good stuff, and returning it, which is like a really crappy thing to do because the average Walmart or Target employee has no idea what is in this. They just know that they're getting back a Monopoly game. So that's
Yep.
That's crappy.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know, but I think most of the places or stores, Target, Walmart, if they're not even supposed to put stuff back on the shelf. I think they're supposed to send it to a liquidation center or back to the manufacturer. So the fact that they're putting it back on the shelf, might tell me that the 4 boxes that I saw may have not been done it like that. That was somebody ripping the box open, taking the cards, and then putting the box back on the shelf.
Yeah, they go hide in the corner by the seasonal stuff where nobody shops.
Right.
And,
So Dom, Panini and Hasbro did a collab where it's a regular Monopoly game, but it also comes with packs of like Prism cards. So the cards look like your regular Prism cards from this year, but they have a Monopoly logo on it. There's special color blasts in there. And then they have ones with like little Monopoly logos and dollar signs and stuff behind the players and stuff. It's pretty cool. Whether or not it's going to like hold like long-term value, I don't know, but
Right.
it's been pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, the one guy at the show at a show that I talked to said that the reason that people are going after that so hard is because the print run on that is on the Monopoly ones are very low, and so that's why guys are going after those ones. But I actually saw a picture on Facebook of the game itself, and I'm like, the game don't even look that interesting. So
yeah, you know what's funny about like the print runs supposedly being very low? Both Panini and Hasbro in the past several years have both been notorious like over printers. So it's just surprising to me that this would be like severely underprinted if it comes from like literally the two most severe like over printers like I've seen like since the 1990s.
Right. Yeah, because they'll pimp Monopoly for anything.
Yeah, pretty much. That's awesome, man. Gotta love getting Bancheros. You had a Banchero out at the show we went to in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yep. I got it was Rookie Ink auto. I was done with the show. I was tired. Was with these two fine gentlemen and a third one. And I was like, I'm going to go sit down for a while, but I'm going to buy a box of something to sit and rip for a while. And it was the third pack. It was in the third pack. And so I had to run back in and submit it to SGC.
So Monopoly, the booster boxes is what the one that is you get outside the game. There are listings on eBay right now, 100 boxes. $4,700, $4,600, $4,500, $4,000. That's all. That's it. This person has 90 of them. Like, how do you find that many? You have to have some kind of
he has a connection.
A connection, or you have a network of people that are out there.
Yeah, I got when running to Walmart and Target was a thing, a number of years ago. I got in good with a guy who knew the MJ Holdings rep, and he would call me and tell me, hey, he's going to this Target today. He's going to this Walmart today. And so that's how those people know that. Now, I don't know if the monopoly comes from MJ Holdings or if it comes from the Hasbro distributor, but that's what it is. Is like they just know when it's going to be put on the shelf, and they're standing there waiting for it.
I mean, how many Targets you have to go to get to 100?
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing. I mean, I don't know. I just but again, the scary part is, eventually all that'll get sold because of the potential.
Right.
Yeah, sold May 24th. Somebody bought 100 boxes for $4,000 plus shipping.
You gotta wonder
$65 in shipping, man.
These people buying boxes in this like number, do you think these are breakers, or do you think these are people speculating that this is going to be a big deal someday?
The people that are buying them off of eBay?
Yeah, like in like the hundreds of boxes.
Yeah, I mean, they could be breakers, but a lot of times the breakers are because that. I mean, that's was my question is that who is distributing that? Is the blaster or the booster box coming from Panini, which would then go through MJ Holdings, or is it coming from Hasbro? And so the breakers would
Either way, it goes through MJ Holdings because they bring all the Magic and stuff too.
Yeah,
No, but these are but these aren't there. These are backed by the toys. I think this comes through Target's distribution center.
right. And so
Okay.
but I was going to say though, if it's coming from Panini, then the breakers are getting theirs from Panini because Panini sells direct to the breaker.
True.
So it's more than likely people who are just ripping and speculating.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I've seen several people that are really, really big into the Monopoly Prism. Like I know Ziggy's chasing after it pretty hard right now. Ziggy No, so shout out to him if he's watching. But it's a nice product. It really is. Like I like that you can get.
Oh yeah, the cards, the special cards, they look really nice. But I mean, again, it all comes down to what's the print run, and that's what I hear about the Monopoly one is that the print run is low, and that's why the people are chasing that one so hard.
That makes sense.
The Mr. Monopoly card.
What do you mean Monopoly? I think they do actually have a card with Mr. Monopoly on it, don't they?
Oh no, they do. One sold on May 4th for $5,000.
Can you imagine getting that? Man, I would sell Mr. Monopoly like faster than you could even think. Because I have like zero nostalgia for Mr. Monopoly.
Right.
If somebody out there is paying $5,000 for his card, good riddance, man.
Here's the better question. Has anybody ever finished a game of Monopoly? We always started, but it always takes so long to finish. You can't, you got 6 people playing.
Yeah.
Like, can you ever finish it?
I always get people mad because I try to buy everything I land on.
Right.
And then I'm that guy that will try to trade people stuff too, even though you're not supposed to. But like, what if I give you 2 for 1? It's like, just give me Park Place. That's all I need. Just give me the Park Place. I already have the boardwalk. I need the other one.
You never find Monopoly.
There's a Monopoly Color Blast.
Yeah, they have specific color blasts. I don't think they look as cool as like the regular color blasts, but they're definitely cool.
Yeah, I think there's the one that they got the dollar sign, and I think there's a red variation, a green variation, and then there's a blast variation, and then I think I'm not versed on all of them, but I mean the specialized ones from the Monopoly all have some Monopoly theme to it behind it. So.
But they are. They're big money, man. But that's what people see, and people see that kind of stuff. And hey, let me go rip open the boxes in the Target and grab the cards and shove them in my pocket and walk out with them. Like go ahead and have a $5,000 card in my hand, or something like that. I think that's what does it, man.
You know what? I have not tried Gorilla Pizza, but I will have to. I'm actually in Cali right now, so over the next week while I'm still here, I will definitely try to see if I can get some.
Where?
Gorilla Pizza? You ever heard of that?
Where's Gorilla Pizza?
California? Never heard of it.
California's a big state, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, like if it's in San Francisco, you're screwed.
Okay.
If it's in Coronado, you're okay though.
Touche.
Oh.
Have you had Gorilla Pizza, Paul? You're originally a Californian.
No, I can't say that I have. Not one that I'm familiar with.
Oh, now I have to have it if they have a Pittsburgh style.
What is a Pittsburgh style pizza?
I'm guessing they probably put French fries on it because they put French fries on everything in Pittsburgh.
French fries and gravy.
If you get a salad in Pittsburgh, it's going to come with French fries on it.
That is a fact. When I was there the first time I went to Pittsburgh to hang out with Anthony, we went to a place, and the salad had French fries on it.
Your sandwiches will have French fries on it.
Yes, I remember that. I don't remember the name of the place, but the salads had French fries on them.
Was that like Pimenty Brothers or something like that?
Yeah, what was it? The
Pimenty Brothers.
Yeah, they had freaking French fries in the salad. So.
Pittsburgh style pizzeria with California soul.
Nice. We're gonna have to check that out.
It's in North Hollywood.
Oh, North Hollywood. That's not too far from us. We'll
It's a nice little Sunday drive.
In your Tesla.
Yeah, I wish I could afford a Tesla. Maybe one of these days. I was just telling lady fellow, like, just the other day when we got here, I said, like, as she picked me up from the airport and we were heading back to her place, literally saw more Teslas in that span than I'd seen like the past several months just being in Pittsburgh. It's like Teslas everywhere out here.
Well, they drive them now while they can before they're told, hey, don't charge them, because the electric is, they're trying to drive them now before it gets too hot. When all the air conditioning kicks on, they're not going to be allowed to go ahead and charge them.
Gorilla Pies is what it's called.
Yeah, no, I found it.
Okay.
That's the website I was showing you.
Okay, cool.
It actually looked pretty good on the web, not going to lie.
We're gonna have to check that out.
It would be, me personally, it'd be worth the drive.
I've already broken my diet like twice since I've been here, so but this seems worth it though, especially since it's Pittsburgh thing. I might have to. One place that we just found that it's gonna. What's this?
Gorilla style is basil, parmesan, chili flakes, and then
Yum. She got the whole thing up over here, so apparently we're getting some gorilla pies tonight. But yeah, she found this really cool place over in Anaheim, close to where Disneyland is. That is literally a thrift store that is a Disney themed thrift store. So like everything in it is like either theme park related or Disney related or whatever. I think we're gonna try to hit that at some point this week too, as we're not too busy moving stuff. Oh, nice. They're on CBS Mornings on YouTube. Very cool. I'll definitely check that out. I'll try to at least get a short.
Anaheim is one of my old stomping grounds.
Nice. How far did you live from Disneyland?
Disneyland is often with the 57 freeway, and I could every time we got on the 57 freeway, you could see Disneyland. You could always see the top of the Matterhorn.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, so it wasn't too terribly far.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, definitely have to see what kind of good stuff. I would imagine, though, like if it's a Disney-themed thrift store, it's probably going to be pretty expensive. Like even in Pittsburgh, some of like the more
probably
like
gonna have
ones.
higher price to it.
Universal.
What? How far is it?
Is it like their rejects or is that what it is? Because I used to have I remember
like a character warehouse type thing.
Yeah, there was it was like a big like pseudo mall type of stuff, but every store in it was a factory reject store. Like they used to have the Vans factory reject store that you could get pairs of Vans shoes for $5, and it's all because like the colors didn't match or the stitching was wrong or something like that. We would go in there and buy pairs of Vans almost once a month, because they weren't constructed correctly, they'd fall apart. But still, a pair of Vans for $5, and back then when I was a punk kid, I didn't care the fact that the shoes didn't match. You know what I mean? Because that was the style for us punk rock kids back in the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah.
You crazy youngsters.
Right.
They used to have I remember back when I was a kid, Gabriel's and Gabriel Brothers used to be that way. Now I think they actually sell like regular-ish stuff.
Yeah, they sell regular stuff, yeah.
I remember my mom bought me a New England Patriots jersey there one time, but the numbers on it were like Baltimore Raven numbers.
Yeah,
I was this is like not the right
there was the same place that had the Vans one had a champion one, and that's all it was. It was like numbers that were wrong or something like that, or a lot of times too it was like either really large sizes, like 6X sweatshirts and stuff like that. But I used to get Dodger stuff where the Dodgers symbols were like oblong or it's like turned incorrectly. But again, it was like $3 or something like that. So that's what I'm wondering if that Disney store is. It's like they were like stuff that's didn't pass their quality control.
They had the LA upside down. It looked like V7.
Yeah, something like that.
But hold on. Your mother in Pittsburgh buys you a New England Patriots jersey.
Oh my god, dude! I got hazed so bad for it.
Did you
until
have a
then.
discussion?
Oh my god! And here's the worst part. Those are my two least favorite teams between the Patriots and the Ravens. Like they beat out like the Browns, the Bengals, like all these other teams that I just like want to vomit thinking about. Like the Ravens and the Patriots in one shirt. Like I felt icky wearing that. Like literally, I felt like I needed to go wash myself after I took it off.
Yeah. Yep.
So we talked about some of the grimy part of the hobby and stuff like that. I just one of the things I especially want to bring up with you two, and I wish Marty was here, is like this hobby is really like expanded by like I've met some really really great people in this hobby as well. I've stayed with Anthony a couple times in Pittsburgh. Mike's had me to his house for a meal when we were down there for the
Yep.
culture clash. And Marty's just Marty. You can't not like Marty. Well, there's probably plenty of people who don't like Marty, but if you ever spend time with Marty, you can't not like him.
100%
He's
correct.
just a great guy. This hobby's it's just brought me friends and made some really deep friendships that like I'm gonna hold on to for a very long time. And the hobby does do great things. And,
Absolutely.
there's a dark side to it. But look at the friends we've made. Like we could he's not in the show, not here, but Def, we could call Def anytime.
Yep.
And hang out
Yep.
with Def. This hobby will take you anywhere. Mark's another great guy. I've met Mark a number of times too at the Pittsburgh shows, and
Yep.
like there. To me, like getting back into sports card is also created some friendships that like I'm gonna, Mike is moving close to me real soon, and I'm
Yeah.
sure when
Yep.
Mike gets here, like we'll be hanging out doing shows together,
Heck yeah.
hopefully doing some content together about sports cards and thrifting and yard sales and stuff like that. So I mean, this hobby is just a great, if you focus on the guys who do grimy things, like that's what you'll see. But if you focus on like the friendships that you make, the community that you build, like you'll go, you'll find everything you want.
There's more good than bad. There's
Right.
more, but what, and there's a lot of things that you don't see the great part of the hobby. Like I will go ahead and I'll give your buddy Dom, in our chat, who's here every single week, a big plug. He's putting together some, mystery packs for a friend of his who's a teacher for like kindergarten or third grade year, kids. That he's putting these little mystery packs together that the teacher's going to go ahead and hand out to him. So there's a lot of good. But the truth of the matter is, we hear more about the bad because the bad's going to get the clicks on YouTube.
Right. Yeah, it'd be
Or,
interesting to say. It'd be interesting to, maybe that's some content there for me. Is I made 100 packs to give out free to kids and see how many views it gets, or versus this guy ripped me off, selling sports cards and hopefully if you do a video like that where like, hey, I gave away free sports cards to kids, that would get a bunch of views, but it won't, because it's not drama that's brought into the hobby, and I just don't like it. Anthony and I could probably we've got dirt on people and that we could spread. Mike, you probably got the same thing, but I think we just don't do that because that's not the part of the hobby that we want to promote. You know what I mean? Like there are things that the three of us could probably say right now that could probably bring some big time YouTubers or even some companies down, but we don't say it because we don't want to, because that's not the type of people we are. We don't want to negatively impact the hobby.
Absolutely. No, that's a good way of putting it, Paul. Absolutely.
You're 100% correct. And I think, but you know what though? But Paul, here's the thing. You see, the three of us, the guys like Dom and the guys like, like Dave and Mark and everything. The truth of the matter is all those scummy guys, they'll be gone, but we're still going to go ahead and be here. And we're going to, we're not going to worry about it because those scummy guys, they're going to get found out. They're going to keep doing bad stuff. And they're slowly, the hobby's going to say, push them away, especially now as the hobby gets more, I don't want to, more economic where prices are, you
Right.
know, coming
Right.
down to where people aren't making as much. You're not buying a card, you know, and getting it graded, and all of a sudden now it's a $10,000. You know, you're not seeing that now. I mean, look at and you have players doing dumbass things. Look at John Morant, and I think it was, I think it was Omar on Retro Hoop Collectibles. There's another guy who said that he got a Ja Prism rookie card in a PSA, I think 10 slab. I think it was a 10. It was a 9 or a 10, but he got it for less than the price that it would have cost to get it graded.
Yep.
Insane.
You know, so the hobby's going to weed those. You know, the hobby's going to weed people out because the money's not going to be at, you know, the further we get away, you know, from the this part here, as we start coming down more and more, the hobby will get back to where it'll be, you know, it'll be really cool to, you know, go to shows and hang out and actually be able to probably, you know, get some of those cards, you know, that you want in your collection, you know, at a somewhat normal price rather than these super inflated prices.
Right.
Thank you, Dom. Appreciate that comment.
Yeah, that's awesome of you, Don. Really appreciate it as well, brother. So yeah, Paul, in your opinion, man, where do you see the hobby going, like in like the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see like things getting better under Fanatics watch, or do you think things get worse?
Yeah,
under
I mean, like I shared earlier, the the thing I fear with Fanatics is that they're not in it for the collection or even the cards themselves. So, like, I think they're more focused on the sports betting and things like that. So that I kind of worry about that. Kind of why I'm, I've put myself, on a self-imposed buying hiatus, because I think what Fanatics does in the first couple of years will really set the hobby on a trajectory, either a negative or a positive. Um, what they do, and it sucks that one company is going to be kind of the end all be all of that. But however they handle things, the main thing for this is like we've all opened boxes and come up with like cards with crummy print runs or a print line or the outline of the player is off or something like that. And how if you is and I think we all know it's worthless to try to get any type of help from Panini over a card that's been misprinted or something like that. How Fanatics handles that, I think, is going to kind of like their quality control. I think will kind of see how the hobby goes. Like, I wasn't deep into the hobby when Panini came on, because when I was in the hobby, like, hard, I mean, it was Topps, it was Fleer, it was Score, it was Don Russ and Bowman and all those companies. Then Panini kind of just like took all of that over, and I wasn't in around, so I don't wasn't there when their trajectory started. So I'm just interested to see how the hobby goes in the next 5 years, based upon how Fanatics comes out of the chute. If they come out of the chute and fumble the ball, the hobby's gonna it's gonna have a downtime. But if they do stuff that's right for the hobby, I think the hobby has nowhere to go but up.
It'll be real interesting to see like how much control they actually want to have over hobby related things too, like because right now they're buying up a lot of hobby businesses. So are they going to basically be like, okay, Topps, do your thing, like we bought you because you're excellent at manufacturing cards, you've been one of the best card manufacturers since the history of making cards, do your thing, we're going to fund you and make you 10x what you could have been as just regular Topps. Topps Fanatics will be like way better, or PWCC, now that we've purchased you, you're XYZ, now we're going to fund you and give you the resources to be blah blah blah. Like,
yeah, that
that's what I'm
PWCC
hoping.
that PWCC thing, like, that was kind of out of the blue. I didn't even know that
Yep.
that was going to happen. All of a sudden, boom, there it is. And that's a very interesting thing, because now I'm wondering if Fanatics is treating an old marketplace type of thing. So, and that
I'd be
again,
shocked if they don't. Like, at
right.
this point, like, they're monopolizing everything. So
Right.
like, what
Well,
I've heard is
I think
that
I'm gonna say with PWCC, I think they saw an opportunity because of the head guy, getting a divorce from his wife, and I think they saw a potential there to do it. But I think the other point you making is that with they want a marketplace. Why not? Why would you not want to compete with eBay? So rather than try and start a marketplace, I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I've heard rumors they want to do a Fanatics Live too, which is going to be something to like rival Whatnot, and like what Whatnot's doing. That's why they're breaking or getting a lot of like the big breakers as far as like exclusive contracts with them. They're also looking to get a lot of athletes exclusive with them too. Like that's almost another death punch to like Panini and some of these other companies. You know what I mean? Not being able to have like a Bryce Young, who's like the #1 overall pick. You can't have his autograph in your products coming out. You're not going to be able to have Victor Wembanyama, who's like the most touted guy since LeBron James came out. Like they're not going to be able to have his autographs in some products. Now I know like Panini's like great for like the hey, we're going to do snake skin, elephant skin, like tiger stripes, like all of these weird parallels that like everybody loves to collect, like rainbows of and XYZ. So there's still going to be plenty to collect, but like for example, I collect Darius Garland. Like you know how bad it sucks that like literally the only autograph card I have of him is a Goodwin Champions like paper garbage looking card. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. Like I would imagine that being that Topps is a Fanatics company, they're going to have nicer looking cards than that. But I don't know, man. Like, do you guys think it's positive for the hobby having these exclusive players, or like, what do you think?
I mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense for them to attempt to do that. Now, here's the thing. I think they did that with CJ and with Young because Panini still has that license this year. Right. And I think that went ahead and did it. Now, what that does for Topps, I don't know. From what are they going to do? They're going to make Topps football now, and they're going to have their pictures. Are they allowed? They're not going to have logos on them. I don't think they can. So I don't really know how it benefits, how much it benefits, because if you were talking about like, hey, I don't really like baseball because it's a non-licensed product, so the hot rookie auto, I may not get it. Are we going to have the same thing happen now, or are people going to say, no, man, that's football, that's completely different, I don't really care? A Bryce Young on just a plain jersey, or in shorts, or do they do like they did with those Trevor Lawrence cards? They make those type of cards like that, those little subset things, and do that type of thing. But just real quick before you go, I think we've already seen some of the stuff of Fanatics, because wasn't it Fanatics who said that, they were going to be very skeptical of who they sent stuff to, and they really wanted to get more into the LCS. And then what they do with some of the big Topps, Topps come out, the Topps 1 of 1, all this other stuff. They give, well, not they give, but, they ship how many cases, how many pallets, to the backyard guys, so they can be the first ones ripping the crap out of it and trying to find the Babe Ruth and this and that and the other thing. So I don't, I think as much as we want to think things are going to change, I think they're going to be the same, because it's about the dollars, man.
Fanatics, I think, is going to be great for the people that are going to be really great at helping them scale their business and their operations. But for the mom and pops card shop, I feel like they're going to be a real hindrance. Like, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to like thrive as much as they have under Panini or some of these other distribution based companies that they've worked through in the past. The only basis I have for saying that is just talking to some of like the smaller mom and popsy type shops around the country. Like I know at least 2 owners that I've spoken with in different parts of the country that are both like saying within like the next year and a half, 2 years, they plan to just either sell their shop or maybe transition into like something else, because they don't feel like they're going to be able to compete anymore under Fanatics, which is like really sad to hear, because like for me, like the LCS is basically the lifeblood of the hobby, because who else is going to make sure that the next generation is actually invested in it? Because if the next generation isn't invested in it, all the cards we're trying to sell are worthless.
Yeah, and that's the part that I wonder about too, is that when the products come out from Fanatics, who's going to sell the sealed products. Are they going to send them to the license or to the LCSs? Or are you going to have to go to a Fanatics in a mall to buy a hobby box of whatever? You can't go down to your local LCS to buy a hobby box anymore. You have to go. The only thing the LCS will be good for is single cards. And I just hope it doesn't go that way. I hope Fanatics understands the importance of all the avenues of how cards are sold and still kind of keeps up with it.
Ooh, there's a good question. Gate City Paul, what are your Holy Grail cards in your collection?
Holy Grail cards. Well, I mean, I've and I collected, and Anthony can attribute to this. I've always collected Kobe. Kobe's always been, the guy that I've always collected before he passed away. So, like, I don't really have any Holy Grail cards. I have some sentimental ones. The guy that really got me going into the hobby is Kurt Gibson. I went to a little mall show. He was there signing autographs. He spent 10, 15 minutes talking to me about playing outfield and how to do it when I was a kid. And so Kurt Gibson has always been like one of my favorite players in baseball. Not a lot of people collect Kurt Gibson, but I do. And so I've got a couple of autographs and a couple of patches and stuff like that. So that's the type of stuff. Autographs that I've got in person is some other stuff. So I've got some John Olerud autographs. Who collects John Olerud autographs? I do, because I got them in person. And that's the thing. So, what is Mike showing us here?
1984, standing outside of Joker Marchant Stadium, spring training game. Kurt Gibson,
Nice.
That's the year Detroit went bananas.
Right.
That's
And
awesome.
so stuff like that. I've got some Raider autographs. I've got I got a Ken Stabler autograph. That is it's not his rookie. I believe it's his third year card. And I just kind of wandered across that one at a show, and the guy didn't really want a whole heck of a lot of money for it, so I bought it. So I don't really have Holy Grails. It's just kind of just some that are sentimental.
Do you have the complete Topps run of Gibson?
I do not have the complete Topps run. I'm missing some of the earlier '80s stuff. I have his rookie, and then I have like the third and fourth year. But yeah, I do have quite a bit. I actually have a binder that has triples, doubles, and since I collected during the junk wax era, I believe I have probably 70 of the 88 score Kurt Gibsons and things like that, because that's kind of the year I started collecting them. So, but that's where I'm. So no, I don't have the complete run, but maybe it's something I'm going after.
That's awesome. So we've been going about an hour and a half now, and I know it's late for you over there on the East Coast, Paul. Is there anything specific we haven't touched on that you would like people to know that maybe aren't familiar with your channel?
This more than anything else, I'm doing the best I can with content. So I've got somebody helping me with it, pushing me to do more content. So just hit the like button, go over and subscribe if you're not. I'm trying to get out to more shows. Yard sale. My yard sale's like the week is great. It's bright and sunny, and all of a sudden on the weekend it's rainy and stormy, and so the yard sales around here for the first few weeks have been pretty crummy. So hopefully that'll kind of even out. But I'm gonna do more. Like, I'm gonna be doing some more shows and stuff like that. So it's not just sports card related. It's more kind of be around the the collectibles and stuff like that. So just share it out if if that's your type of thing, and come subscribe, and like, comment, and subscribe, as we always say.
Awesome, man. Well, again, I genuinely appreciate you coming on tonight, man. It's always a pleasure and a good time anytime we get to hang out and shoot the breeze or whatnot. And,
yes,
there's so much like knowledge rattling around that head that like I don't think you give yourself credit for, man. So I just thought it'd be really good to not only pick your brain here, but also get some people to come over to your channel and learn how to make some money just like on everyday items at yard sales, garage sales, card shows, all those things.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the main thing with anything is like, any entrepreneur you talk to, they always talk about multiple streams of income. You have to have multiple ways to sell it. Sports card is not is not a fast mover. You're waiting for that right person at the right time with the right, bankroll or whatever it is that they're looking for to buy it. So you got to have multiple avenues for it. And so that's where that's the type of stuff I'm focusing on. And maybe I need to do more content about all the, because mainly just do the eBay stuff, but maybe go down, do more content from the consignment shop. I did the last show I did. It wasn't a secondhand nature to pull the camera out to make clips for doing the show down there. So I just got to get better at that type of stuff. So just bear with me if you come over and subscribe.
Like you Downey.
Yeah, it's funny. We were just talking about stuff earlier today. We're going through a big garage thing that my girlfriend has. Is we're getting ready to move her to California, and we're getting ready to do a big yard sale for her just this weekend. So anybody watching this in California, I'll probably post something this weekend if anyone's interested in coming to a yard sale that I'll actually be at helping sell stuff. So I'll be maybe doing a community post, and if you guys want to follow all of us over on Instagram, I'll post something over there too. But potentially even maybe a live stream. It's what?
June 3rd.
Oh, June 3rd. Yes, this Saturday, June 3rd, 7 a.m. Pacific time till whenever all of her crap is sold. But anyway, we're going through and just like you're talking about things that are slow sellers.
Anthony, don't call it crap in front of her. You wait till she's away before you call it crap.
Hey, I'm just helping you guys out as buyers. We're gonna devalue it first, get you some nice good deals. But anyway, I'm going through comping some of her stuff. She has these books. I'm like, hey, these are slow sellers, but there's literally people that go through thrift stores just trying to find the type of stuff you have sitting here. You know what I mean? The type of inventory she has. But I if anybody's interested, in the California area near Los Angeles, I will be putting some information out about that. Potentially, maybe a live stream later. Who knows? But definitely, no, definitely not going to be a name change, Jason. But I have been going back and forth quite a bit. So there's going to be a name change to Pix Cali. Now it's going to be Picksburgh still. Since I'm still technically from Pittsburgh, and I still spend the majority of my time out in Pittsburgh nowadays, but I do like it out here every once in a while. But yeah, Michael, anything going on in Huddle Card this week? Talk about?
Not a lot going on. I mean, like I said, we got just trying to get through these next 10 days. I will go live tomorrow night, probably about 9 o'clock ish. Do some ripping and chipping if anybody's interested in a little bit of some retail stuff from a couple years ago, some not brand new stuff. Maybe you're looking to hit something up there. Then next week we got the show will be on my channel, and then like I said, then I have to head to Alabama for my daughter's wedding.
Congratulations!
Thank you. And then, get her completely off the payroll. It's going to be great.
I bet you can't wait to transfer the bill to him, huh?
Yeah. Already started. The phone went.
Uh-huh.
Next is the car insurance.
Yep. Absolutely. You start transferring those bills, and then once you're there, he'll transfer the bill for the wedding to you.
Well, yeah. But at least that's only a one-time thing, and we'll get through that one.
Yep. It's kind of like severance pay.
But Paul, thanks for coming on, man, jumping on and spending some time with us. We really appreciate you.
Appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Absolutely. Guys, again, make sure you go follow Paul over on his YouTube channel and follow all of us over on social media. Next week, we're on Huddle Card Collection. We're going to have the guys from the Pittsburgh Card Show on. Should be a good time.
Very nice.
Alrighty, guys. You have a wonderful... Oh, good. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I said looking forward to it.
Okay. Yep. Well, guys, you have a wonderful evening, and we will see you again next week. God bless.